Although stumbling, India has made it to their second fixture of the Super 8s. It's match day -2 here in Chennai. I'm outside of the Chepauk Stadium where India had its first under lights practice session at the venue. Tomorrow they practice in the afternoon, but that is an optional session. Let's talk about everything that went down because as of now, there are a lot of questions that are being asked of the Indian management and the captain as well. India is just not at its best. Let's talk about the practice now. Of course, it starts off with fielding drills and catching drills. This has now become a new regular for Team India in T20Is. You see that back in the Asia Cup as well, when there were a lot of concerns about catching, T. Dilip had extra work put in at the start of every session that happened, every practice session that happened. The Indian team, the men in blue, spent almost 20 to 30 minutes in every mandatory practice session, fielding, catching, all sorts of catching before they start their net session. So that's how it started. And the pattern is set for every practice session, right? You do the warm-up, you do the catching drills and nets in that order. But every mandatory practice session, the management comes up with new drills to keep everything light-hearted. Today was all about enjoying the session. From what Suryakumar Yadav has said multiple times throughout this tournament, that they want to stay in the present, possibly why there was a game sort of drill where the Indian team was having lots of fun and were having a lot of banter with each other, keeping things light and, they came in with a clean slate for this time. Rinku Singh, and that is the news here, Rinku Singh was not a part of the procession. The men in blue had a full-fledged practice session. It was a mandatory practice session. You know, we started off watching all of the players come into the ground, onto the field one by one. When they lined up for their practice drills, you could see that there was someone missing, and it was obviously Rinku Singh. For a good while, for a good couple of hours, we did not know or did not have any official communication about Rinku Singh's absence. But then later it was confirmed by sources that his father is unwell and he has flown back home to have a look at him. He is all set to join the squad tomorrow, so he will be flying back in. It's going to be a stressful event for Rinku Singh. And if he makes it into the team and does something brilliant, it's going to be one hell of a pat on the back for Rinku Singh for going through all of that stressful. It's already so stressful. There's already so much pressure on this team when it comes to defending the World Cup title. But now the added pressure of family, of his father not being well, will play on his mind at this point. The other part, Ishan Kishan and Suryakumar Yadav had an extended batting session against off-spin. So usually what happens is, and this is how it goes, there is batting simulation sort of situation in every net session where the batters come in according to their batting order that is in the nets, that is in the match, and they replicate that in the nets. But this time around, or rather, this is what has been happening in this tournament, is that Abhishek Sharma likes to now bowl first in the nets, in the spinner's net, and then comes back to bat at the very end of the practice session. So it's Suryakumar Yadav who starts off the spinner's net session, and it's Ishan Kishan who starts off the pace bowling net session. They both did that. They both batted for a very, very long time. Now, I'll get into the nuances a little bit. Suryakumar Yadav obviously has been batting against spin extensively throughout this tournament. And while he plays those big shots, while he attempts those big shots, some of them land very, very well. But today, it seemed like he was having a bit of trouble connecting the ball. The ball wasn't effortlessly coming onto the bat like we have seen Suryakumar Yadav at his peak do. And there were definitely a lot of shots as well that were hanging in the air and possibly going for a catch. Ishan Kishan, on the other hand, looked his best self. He was hitting those big shots, he was getting everything right, and he has been the one consistent batter throughout this tournament for Team India. Later, after they were done with their respective nets, Ishan Kishan came and started and stood behind Suryakumar Yadav in the net, stood behind the stumps and was observing Suryakumar Yadav play. On the other hand, Surya Kumar Yadav also did the same. So Surya Kumar Yadav would stand behind the stumps and watch Ishan Kishan play, and they were doing that alternatively as they had a long session against particularly off spin. So there were two bowlers from the Indian camp, Akshar Patel and Varun Chakravarti bowling, but that's not where you should pay attention. The place where you should pay attention is the fact that there were two net bowlers who were right arm off spinners, and they were practicing for a very long time against them. Number three, Jasprit Bumrah worked on his bowling with Mone Mokal in the net. So the way that the MA Chidambaram Stadium is, there is a gate right in front of me, and there is a net area behind the stadium, and that's where Jasprit Bumrah chose to practice today. He was definitely working on a lot of technicalities with the bowling coach Mone Mokal, but he did not practice at all at the center wicket. He did his usual, there you go on the screen, he did his usual spot bowling to warm up his body, but after that he went straight into the private nets and started working with Mone Mokal over there. The final point of the practice session, Varun Chakravarti's special catching drill. So it is no secret, that India is one team that is struggling with their fielding. It's not at its best. There are a couple of fielders who, if the ball finds them, the chances are it's not going to be held on to. So there's one Kuldeep Yadav and there's the other Varun Chakravarti, the two frontline spinners for the Indian team. Back in Ahmedabad, you saw Kuldeep Yadav working for a long time in one of the optional practice sessions, working on his high catching. T. Dilip was giving him tips. One of the tips was to know where your boundary is every single time that you are taking a start, which is how you will know or will be able to judge the ball and how far back you should go to take a catch. On the other hand, Varun Chakravarti did something similar today with T. Dilip. So there was this special drill where Varun Chakravarti was told to keep his eyes closed, look down, and T. Dilip would hit the ball in the air. And only when he hit the ball in the air and it was coming down, T. Dilip would signal that Varun Chakravarti can now look up and take the catch. And these are drills that will help Varun Chakravarti get sharper when it comes to judging catches. It will help him improve his reaction time to the catches. And it's something that needs to be brushed up, especially when you're playing at such a high level. Varun Chakravarti is someone who cannot be kept out of the team. But if he is one of India's weakest fielding player or weakest link in the fielding department, then it's not going to do. Varun Chakravarti will have to work on that. But that was the entire, roundup of the practice session. There are so many questions being asked out here of Surya Kumar Yadav, of Gautam Gambhir, and of the management as well. Surya Kumar Yadav, the one question that everyone is asking is, why are you batting the way that you are? And to us, the media who are watching Surya Kumar Yadav practice in the nets, we realize that he's batting as aggressively as he always did. But whenever he goes out to bat in the match, he's taking on this very conservative role where he's slowing down the tempo, where he's trying to anchor the innings and stabilize and steady the ship, which is not what is needed when Tilak Verma from the other end is doing the same thing. We saw that happening back in Colombo. That is something that, we can still say was needed on that wicket. That was a tricky wicket. But when you think of the matches like the one against Namibia, and of course the last one against South Africa as well, where it wasn't Surya and Tilak, it was Surya and Washington Sundar. There are questions of entry points when it comes to certain batters. One of them is obviously Washington Sundar, why he was sent out at number 5. When, someone like a Shivam Dube, not Shivam Dube, I would say a Rinku Singh could have been sent out at that point. And Surya Kumar Yadav, just a day earlier, had spoken about, these entry points. And he said, if in the power play, we have not lost too many wickets, maybe it's 2 down, you could very well see a Hardik Pandya or a Shivam Dube walk in. He was speaking about the flexibility, but then when it was time to adapt to that very situation, it did not happen. You saw that another anchor was sent in when Surya Kumar Yadav was had already considerably slowed down the tempo and the required run rate kept stacking on. The third question that people are asking is, Sanju Samson, will he make it into the team? Will he replace Rinku Singh or will he replace Tilak Verma? Because Tilak Verma has been underwhelming in this tournament. Now, he very well may have done his anchor role, played it to perfection, or maybe as the management would have liked. But it's very contrarian what we're hearing from the management, right? Because on one hand, when we had those two games in Ahmedabad, Sitanshu Kotak, Mone Mokal, and Surya Kumar Yadav all were in defense of Tilak Verma and said, and I quote, he is playing exactly the role that we want him to play. But at the same time, Surya Kumar Yadav says that Tilak Verma is unhappy with the way that he's batting. So what is it? Is he or is he not playing the role that you asked him to play? Or is he unhappy because he's not playing the role well? We don't know the answer to that yet because, well, the management hasn't been very transparent, have they? But at the same time, next question that is being asked is, when does Akshar Patel come back into the team? He's a proven performer in T20 cricket. He's bailed Team India out of very terrible situations with the bat, but somehow the vice captain of the team finds himself on the bench. Let me now take a couple of questions before we can close the show. Sky will play another test innings against Zimbabwe. That remains to be seen. You know, anything could happen at this point. I'm sure the South Africa match was a wake-up call for the management. I'm sure that they will want to calibrate and back their players. I think that's the number one thing. After that South Africa game, Ryan and Doshkata came out for the press conference and Sitanshu Kota came out for the mixed zone interaction. And, Ryan said that this is a team that is another contrarian comment from the management, by the way. Ryan said that this team is inexperienced, whereas Sitanshu Kotak said that this is not a team that lacks experience. So what is it? We are trying to understand what they're trying to say. On the other hand, Sitanshu and Ryan both said that it's a one-off day. It's a off day for the Indian team, and that not a lot of, you shouldn't put doubt in the mind of the players, is what Sitanshu Kotak said. So let's see what happens. Why Abhishek not batting? Abhishek does bat. He starts off, I know where the confusion comes off, because he doesn't start off his practice session with batting. He starts off with bowling. So he likes to bowl for at least an hour or so in the spinner's net, and then at the very end he will come out and bat. Okay. How was Sanju today? Is he confident with the bat? He's looked good. Not going to lie. And he was working separately on some things. He was taking throwdowns by Ryan and Doshkata, and he looked good. I'm not going to say that he looked bad at all. Okay, more. Sanju Samson to play in the next match. You know, the thing is, cricket shorts. The thing is, when we talk about T20Is as a game, and as a job as journalists, it's very, very difficult to figure out what the management is thinking or what the playing 11 is going to be like solely based off of practice sessions. You can do that in test cricket. We have done it multiple times where we have looked at the practice sessions, who is doing what, and we've come up with a playing 11, and that very playing 11 was affirmed by the management on the match day. So that's something you can understand when it comes to test cricket, but T20I cricket, because the practice sessions are the same no matter what, with some variations. So there is no way that you can tell who's going to play and who's not going to play, because everyone is practicing. Please, Hardik ko power play mein bowling mat do. Okay. Have you had a chance to look at the wicket? I did have a look at the wicket, and it looks good. Neil, I don't know if you have the picture. It's on Twitter, but that'll take some time. But anyway, it looks like a good wicket. It looks like a competitive wicket where a lot of runs can be scored, but at the same time, I still think it's not going to be a 210 plus type of total. I'm thinking anywhere around 175 to 190 should be the par total here. Let's see if the and the thing is, if only Abhishek Sharma fires in the power play and is able to get India those 80, 90 runs, the opening pair, only then will you think of 200 plus. But at this point, with the way that things are going, considering Abhishek is not firing, Suryakumar Yadav, Tilak Verma anchoring things, and then later from 15 overs onward, you're seeing Hardik Pandya or Shivam Dubey or Rinku Singh come in and tonk the bowlers out of the park. So if that is the template, then maybe not a 200 plus wicket. Can we get replaced? Oh, it's gone. A year come for Rinku replacement. Rinku is not going anywhere. He's coming back tomorrow. Is Sanju playing in the next match? We will have to wait and see. It will be one of the more expected outcomes, but we can't say as of now. At least I can't say. Do you think there is a possibility to play both Washington and Aksar? There is a possibility to do that, but then Rinku Singh goes out. Will you, and I'm thinking from this perspective, will you want your best fielder to sit out? I wouldn't. And what he can do with the bat is also something that is special. He hasn't fired in the World Cup, I know, but at the same time, you have to back your players. So it depends. It really depends. At what position Sanju will play if he gets a chance? It could very well be that Sanju opens with Abhishek, Ishan Kishan at number 3, Suryakumar Yadav at number 4. That is one possibility. The other possibility is Sanju Samson replaces Tilak Verma at number 3, so straight swap. We'll have to see what kind of combination the management wants at the top of the order, but apart from that, I guess that's it. Can Kuldeep get a chance to play next match? I think it can happen. But you know, everyone is assuming that this is the classic traditional Chepauk pitch. It's not. It's more of a batting wicket. Of course, there'll be a balance between bat and ball, but not the kind of rank turner that we're used to seeing in Chepauk. It's not the same wicket anymore. It's been relayed. So that's not what you're going to get. Plus, this is an ICC tournament, so there are neutral pitch curators, and they decide how the pitch is going to play. And more often than not, they want the games to be good. They want the tournament to be good, so they will make pitches that will support, give equal advantage to bat and the ball. All right, I think I've taken almost all of the questions here. I will take your leave now. Of course, I'll come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. to talk to you guys. I will be live. So don't forget to join me then. Send in your questions. We can have a good conversation over cricket, over what India can do in the next couple of days to refine and tune their World Cup campaign once more and go out there and defend their title. Till then, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'll be back very soon. See you later and have a good night.